What up, kinfolk? You ever watch movies like, say, The Thing and The Blob? You always wonder what it would be like to be the Blob. You know, that big, ugly mass that eats up shit and gets bigger and bigger. Well, in Phobia Game Studios and Devolver Digital's title, Carrion, you get to be just that, the killer blob. It's a Metroidvania and is a reverse horror game. But, should you play it? Let's find out. Carry on my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest, don't you cry no more. In Carrion, you take the role of a small red blob that has just escaped from the chamber that confined it. Now it's time to make your way to freedom, regardless of what or who ends up in the way. Emphasis on who, because to restore your form, you have to tear apart and consume the hapless humans that get in your way. Carrion is a Metroidvania with 16-bit pixel-style graphics. The graphical style, while minimalist, works quite well here, especially with the creepy atmosphere and a horror soundtrack. The way the blob controls feels quite natural and organic. Sometimes it's a bit confusing when your blob is bigger, and sometimes the center of mass isn't where you think it is, but even so, moving around the game's levels feels like silk. As with any Metroidvania, you gain powers, enabling you to access new areas or do more damage to enemies. Later on, you gain the ability to possess humans with a parasite. In a twist, what powers you have access to, along with your maximum health, are tied to what size your blob is. For instance, you unlock a web shot and invisibility powers that you can use, but only when your blob is at its smallest. There are many puzzles in the game, and they mostly center around what powers your blob has access to. Luckily, you'll encounter pink pools that you can use to leave some of your mass in the cocoon in case you need a smaller blob to tackle the puzzle. Needless to say, if you see one of these pools and the puzzle is about to come up, so you should probably drop off some of your mass. It's satisfying to grab the screaming humans, pull them towards you, and chew their heads off as you consume them. However, not all of your enemies will be pushovers. You'll encounter several armed guards with shields, flamethrowers, and other items that can shave off your health if you're not careful. In addition, you'll run into several robotic and mechanical enemies that you'll need to take care of if you want to progress. This makes the game challenging, but thankfully it's not overly frustrating. If anything, it serves to make you think of creative ways to use your skill set. There are a few flashback sequences that have you playing as a scientist. However, these add very little to the narrative. Actually, what the fuck do you need a narrative for? You're a fucking blob and you have to get the fuck out of the facility. That's all you need to fucking know. Why the fuck are you boring me with these damn scientist parts? If there is one major flaw, it's the fact that there is no map system, mini-map or otherwise. After I completed an area, I had a lot of moments where I had to figure out where I had to go next or what I had to do next. Of course, this being a Metroidvania, backtracking is a part of the game, but too many times in this game I found myself wandering aimlessly before I stumbled upon the next area. Also, it took me less than 8 hours to finish the game, and that includes the excess wandering that I had to do. I'm hoping the developers added more content or a level editor to expand its lifespan a bit. Still, at its $20 asking price, it's still a good value, and as of right now, it's free on Xbox Game Pass. Time for the $10 million question. Should you play it? Well, yes. Especially while it's on Xbox Game Pass. The lack of a map leads to needless wondering, there is little in the way of replay value, and the scientist parts add little to the narrative, not that it really needs any to begin with. However, the controls are easy to get used to, and they make maneuvering feel natural. The pixelated, yet gory graphics and creepy sound effects contribute to the atmosphere, while the enemies and puzzles add variety to the gameplay. The unlockable powers are fun to use, and they drive home the feeling of being an unstoppable menace straight out of a horror flick. Well, that wraps up for another edition of Should You Play It? If you like what you just saw, hit that thumbs up icon, and if you want to see more, then make sure you click subscribe and click the little bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I put out a new video. If you don't, you're going to end up like this fucker right here and get swallowed by the blob. Bye-bye, plastic Fortnite fucking character. It's nice knowing ya. He's got me! He's got me! But yeah, make sure you check out my other stuff, which is in the playlist below, and I hope to see you again. For now, I am Audi 51000G.